Hey folks, welcome to Bulletin Brass. I apologize if the audio isn't so great. I've got the camera moved back and zoomed in, a little different perspective I wanted to try out, but it may mess with the audio. You may also hear the popping of my water-based heat. So it is what it is. It's a cold, wet day, so that is what's going on. So the topic of today's video is why the AR-15. Now, if you're a gun person, if you've been in the industry a while, that's kind of an easy thing to answer for you. Everybody's got a slightly different answer. And for some people, the answer is no, they don't like them. So I thought I'd go over some of the most common reasons the answer is the AR-15. And the fact that there's that kind of idea is one of the reasons. The AR-15 is not one gun. It isn't this design and that's it. That's an AR-15. Kind of a standard setup, mid-power scope, 16-inch barrel, basic muzzle device, in this case a fixed stock. Okay. But I could throw that on, and it's an AR-15 has a short free float, has a weird giant gas block, a crowned match grade barrel, is compliant in a lot of states where this previous version wouldn't be. And then I can go super lightweight, adapter for a suppressor, red dot sight, tactical charging handle, cool angular design compared to the older style, all rounded and smooth design, completely different handguard. And then, completely different caliber. Barrel is not like the others. Iron sights, different handguard. You know, it's none of these are the same. I have 4 different uppers, and none of them are the same. None of them are designed for the same job. About the only things they have in common are the 3 of them are in the same caliber. None of them have the same twist rate. None of them are made by the same company. Let's see, 2 of the 4 were assembled by me. 2 of them are factory made. Even the factory made ones have been modified to some extent to better suit the individual, which is kind of the thing for AR-15s. You don't buy an AR-15 and go, that's it. You buy an AR-15 because you can fine tune it to what you want. And yeah, some people do. Some people buy them and put it in the closet or put it in the safe and that's it. And honestly, they're probably the majority, just because that's how people are. But compared to other guns, there are really only a couple others like the AR-15 where they're commonly bought with full intent, right from the start, of fine-tuning this, or even completely customizing, where you don't even start with a factory gun. For example, this upper, there was never an original. Like, I didn't start from something to modify it. I started with a blank forged upper. These are not the same one, by the way. I bought a barrel, bought a handguard, I bought a muzzle device, bought a bolt. Each of those pieces was specifically chosen for a reason. They all came together for a particular intent, design, concept that is unique from any of these. Particularly this one, but particularly this one. This is my What Would Stoner Do upper, and it is massively different from the others. But it doesn't really look all that different, right? It's still black. It's still got a handguard. It's still got a receiver. It's still roughly the same length, right? Yeah, it doesn't mean it's the same thing. It doesn't mean it's for the same job. The AR-15 is so adaptable that even if superficially, from an uneducated point of view, I'm not going to say ignorant, literally uneducated, which does mean ignorant, by the way, but it's a little less pejorative. They look similar, but every AR-15 that is modified or custom built, there's a thought that went into the changes, that went into the particular design, and everybody does it differently. It is the Barbie doll for the gun world. It is the Legos for the gun world. The gun I was talking about that is similar is the Ruger 1022. It is not as adaptable. It is more effort to make significant changes, but still not hard. When Ruger designed it, they really made it user-friendly for modifying. Other guns that are similar to that, Ruger actually, again, has a couple pistols, 22s, again. The aftermarket parts market is huge. You can kind of customize it however you want. And again, very popular. The 1022 is, after the AR-15, one of the most popular rifles sold these days. In fact, for a long time, it was the most popular rifle. I believe the AR-15 has surpassed it in terms of current sales. But if you think about that, that's AR-15s from all manufacturers versus the Ruger 1022 from Ruger, one company, not one product, they make a couple different versions, but one rifle, which is pretty awesome. But it shows that individuality comes into play. Now, other reasons. It's a damn good design. I mean, there's a reason this is a 50-year-old design that is, functionally speaking, almost unchanged. This is literally an early Vietnam era design that they got right. Eugene Stoner and his team got it right. And let me hold this up. The recoil system recoils straight back down this rail from the front straight on back directly into your shoulder. There's nothing that goes this way, this way, this way, this way. It recoils straight back into the user. It's a disadvantage in the sense that your scope is mounted pretty high, but it's an absolute advantage in terms of the recoil management. Oops. The pistol grip. Now this is a single piece polymer lower where the stock pistol grip and the lower receiver are all one piece. So it's an odd example. But the pistol grip, the general design, shape, height, position relative to the trigger, they got it right. It is a position that is comfortable for a lot of people. The position of the safety, easy to reach for a lot of people. It is a very rare person that cannot manipulate that safety without moving their hand completely off the grip. Mag release, again, easy to reach without accidentally pushing something else. Bolt catch. In fact, a lot of people don't like it because it is a pain in the ass to hit without moving your hands off the gun. Great, you don't hit it accidentally. Overall, this is a design that epitomizes form and user-friendly over a lot of other elements. They sacrificed a lot of things that were traditionally thought of as important for gun design to build this. And the result, a relatively lightweight, simple, easy to maintain, let's not beat up the table, easy to maintain, very adaptable design. 50 years later, it's still, now, the most popular firearm in the US in terms of ongoing sales. I believe we're over 18 million currently. It is a design that is not technologically sophisticated, does not require any crazy machine work. Even the internal workings are things that, while you need good tolerances and you need to make sure everything fits, there's nothing super intricate. There's nothing where the machine operator needs to be supremely skilled or have some crazy expensive machine or odd equipment. I would be willing to bet that most of the manufacturing for this could be done at almost any full service machine shop. They would not need to buy custom tools, custom tooling, done. That makes it popular. Not because Joe Smith down the street can make one, but because if Joe Smith has an idea, he can go to the local job shop and say, hey, let's build this idea. Let's try it. Now, that could be a barrel design, that could be a handguard design, that could be a mount for an optic, that could be a charging handle design. These are easy things for a machine shop to make, and literally there is an entire industry for it. There is more companies than you could possibly keep track of making AR-15 parts, accessories, adapters and widgets and who's-its and what's-its, everything. The only thing that comes close is the 1022 aftermarket parts world. And in comparison these days, the AR-15's got it killed. What else? In previous videos, we've talked about the fact that it is marginal in 5.56 for deer. That caliber really, I mean, people do it. It's legal in a lot of states. You better get your shot placement perfect. In other calibers, you got a little more wiggle room, but not everybody's hunting deer. Coyotes, hogs, rabbits, there are smaller species of deer. There are a lot of animals you can hunt with an AR-15 perfectly well. Why not? I mean, there's no reason you can't put a 5-round magazine in there, or a 3-round magazine if your state has a 3-round limit. Just because it can take a larger magazine doesn't mean you only do that. A lot of times you'll hear politicians saying, you know, these have no use for hunting. Could have fooled us, because a lot of people hunt with an AR-15. In fact, more people probably hunt with an AR-15 in this day and age than anything else. And there's a reason for that. They're familiar with it. They use it. They practice with it a lot. They've got a lot of options. They can build exactly what they want. And yeah, if your state says you can only have a 5-round magazine, you put a 5-round magazine in, you go shooting. I have a number of 5-round magazines that I use at the range because they're nice and short. They don't get in the way of the bench. I'm only shooting 5 rounds at a time for shooting groups. It's convenient. I don't hunt, so that I don't have them for hunting. But certainly, if you are looking for a home defense firearm, the AR-15 is a great choice. Don't let them bullshit you. Over-penetration is a factor with almost anything you would use. Proper ammo selection fixes that problem. You have to pick your ammo. Contrary to popular belief, if you shoot 12-gauge slugs or buckshot, your penetration issues are just as bad, if not worse. An AR-15 with a 30-round magazine for home defense, you're going to have a much better time. Most, and this is certainly, I'm opening a ball of worms here, a can of worms. Most experts, not all, most, agree that the shotgun versus the AR-15 versus a pistol, a properly set up and chosen AR-15 with the proper ammo is a better choice for most people. There are scenarios where other things are better. On average, AR-15 is better. I'm going to take a pause here so I can go get food. Be back in a second. So I've got 2 more thoughts on why the AR-15. And one kind of feeds off everything else. So we'll go with the other one first. That's economics. Now, there are a lot of inexpensive rifles out there. There are a lot of options. But when you're talking about a very modular, very flexible, general purpose, semi-automatic rifle, they can cover a wide variety of subjects. There aren't a whole lot of options that are available in the price range of the AR-15. You can buy an AR-15 right now for $500. A perfectly good rifle, not bottom of the barrel parts, not great, but not total junk. And then you can buy one for $5,000 that is superbly accurate, incredibly reliable, beautifully machined and finished, and comes with some wonderful accessories. So, in that sense, it's really incomparable to anything else. I mean, the closest I can come up with is the Remington 700, where you can go to Walmart or Cabela's or some other sporting goods store and buy a Remington 700, about $600. Or you can buy one, how much do you want to spend? Some gunsmith will build you one in whatever variation you want for astronomical amounts of money. The difference is you can't really at home go from that $600 model to the $5,000 model. There's just, they're different rifles. Whether it's because it was machined more tightly, whether it was a different bolt, it's a different barrel, it's a different whole setup. Now, yes, they are compatible in the sense that I can buy a barrel that fits one of them and put it on the other one. But that's not really a home gunsmith kind of task. At that point, if you can do that at home, you are an advanced home gunsmith. You have put some money and time into learning and buying what you need to make that work. The AR-15, the difference is really incremental. It's you put a better barrel in. Well, okay, I can change out the barrel in 5 minutes. You have a better bolt. Okay, they work the same. So what makes it better? Little details. And oh, by the way, I can go buy the better bolt for $150. Take out my current one that was poorly machined and is missing some nice touches and swap it out. You can part by part go from the cheapest AR-15 to the most expensive AR-15, and in the end, the difference is going to be pretty much zero. You may have a serial number that is a little more boring than the custom serial number you could have gotten on your handmade one-of-a-kind rifle. So, yeah, I mean, there are different ranges, but the AR-15 is popular. The AR-15 is popular because the everyday person, the person working a 9-to-5 job or a low-paying job, can still go get a quality rifle that is not fundamentally different from the one the I've got money coming out of my ears person bought. And there will be differences, but fundamentally, there's nothing there that says you cannot slowly upgrade as you choose. Now, the last reason I think that they're so popular and they're such a good choice for a lot of uses is because they're so popular, because of all these other things I've talked about. They are the most common rifle out there. Now, why is this a reason to choose one? I mean, it's not a popularity contest. Well, the reason is when you go to the range as a shooter, particularly as a new shooter, and you have a problem, you don't know how to do something, something's not working quite right. Well, if you've got some rifle that nobody's ever heard of, nobody can really help you. I mean, we can guess, we can look at it. If there's something obviously wrong, sure. But if your AR-15 is malfunctioning at the range in this day and age, pretty much everybody there knows how it works. And we've all got one, and we can go, I had that problem, it's this. Or, oh, you got a magazine problem, here, use this one for the rest of the day and then just order another one. Or you break your charging handle in the middle of a class. Okay, if you broke the charging handle on, we'll just throw this out there, an FAL rifle. It's a big 308 semi-auto if you're not familiar. Now, very popular rifle in its day and age, very capable, right hand of the free world, right? Well, yeah, but if your charging handle broke on that, you were SOL. I mean, your buddy can't lend you one. You're gonna have to get that worked on. The AR-15, okay, I've got my spare upper with me at the range. I go, oh, you need a charging handle. Okay. Here you go, bud. Just get it back to me before you leave. Thanks. Parts are compatible. Everybody's got them. Everybody knows how to use them. It is a rifle that is almost universal. And as much as some people would like to deny that and would like to say we need to ban them, they're not in common use, they have no sporting purpose, they clearly do. They clearly are one of the most popular rifles in the world. And in the US have outsold everything else in the last few years easily. I mean, it's not a close race. It's pretty far off. And it's hard to beat. If you don't have a particular task that there's a better rifle for, the AR-15 is kind of the everything rifle. I can build you an AR-15 for almost any competition style you want to compete in that can do a semi-auto. I can build you an AR-15 for almost any kind of hunting you want to do that can be done in the calibers that fit an AR-15. And if that doesn't work, we can go to an AR-10 that has a bigger magazine and can fire bigger rounds. In North America, you're covered. Anyway, that is my take on why the AR-15 is a yes, why it isn't the answer very often when the question is, what gun should I get? I only own 2 AR-15s. I clearly own a number of uppers. I would say I take an AR-15 to the range with me more often than not. Even if I'm taking something else, an AR-15 goes with me because it is my standard. It is my default. And I am not unique in that sense. I would say in the last couple of years when I go to the range, I see more AR-15s there than everything else combined. So for example, if I'm in my local range, it's a private club, and pretty traditional club, I gotta say. I mean, we're old school. And you're looking down the line on a busy day. Out of 12 ports, there's 8 AR-15s and 2 something else's, and a couple guys shooting black powder muskets. And by the way, everybody there owns an AR-15. Everybody. I've yet to meet somebody at that range who didn't have one, even if it's not their preference. It's that universal. Now, they say only 18 million have been sold in the consumer market in the US. I'm betting that number is drastically low. Not because I think they did it wrong or they're hidden or anything like that, but because they only counted certain manufacturers. And they're counting on the reporting from those manufacturers of how many were made. Well, that kind of tracking is not necessarily the most accurate. It is the MSR, the modern sporting rifle. The AR-15 is here to stay. It is the rifle of choice for most people, for competition, for hunting, for recreation, for self-defense. Everything else is a niche. And I say that as somebody who is a big fan of my traditional rifles. I'm a bolt action guy at heart. I like cowboy action shooting with lever actions and double barrel shotguns. But the AR-15 is the do-it-all general purpose rifle of the last 50 years. And it's not going anywhere. That's it. Take care, have fun, stay safe, y'all.